Yeah.
I'll introduce you.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks for coming, everybody. For you online, are you able to hear us? If you're online and you can hear us, can you type in, or say if you happen to have voice on your computer, or if you've dialed in, if you'll say you can hear us, or type in that you can hear us. Silence, that's not good.
Oh, nobody.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. And for you, those of you online also, if you wish to, if you would like, you can call in. We're finding that you can dial in addition to looking at, watching this on your computer, and you will be able to have a conversation with us through our speakers. If you do that, if you do decide to dial in, so you can talk to us and ask questions instead of typing in questions, make sure to keep yourself on mute except for when you're asking the question, so we keep the background noise down.
You don't put us on hold either.
Right, and don't put us on hold because we'll have to listen to your whole music, and we don't want that either. Unless it's really good music, and then you can do that. No, I'm just kidding on that. Don't put us on hold either. So we'll go ahead, I guess, and we've got Christina Lambert here from Benchmark to talk to us about what they've done to help individuals with sensory disorders, sometimes severe sensory disorders, to get out more in the community. We know that sometimes that can be a difficult thing. And I actually went and visited Christina at her program. Gosh, it was probably like 2 months ago now.
Yeah, a couple months back.
Yeah, but it was really neat, and I know we've had a lot of providers struggling with this, so I was like, gosh, you come present. But before Christina starts, how about if we go around the room so that everybody online knows who's here? I'm Lisa Mathis from OPRA.
I'm Christine Temple with OPRA.
I'm Justin Blumworth, Capabilities.
I'm Christina Lambert with Benchmark Human Services.
Jason Dresden, Koinonia.
Julia Abakunis, Koinonia.
Amy Lance, CCI.
Della Potts, Goodwill Working Community Services.
I'm Desi Strickland with Learning Never Ends.
Angie Chan with I'm Boundless.
Okay. And just to remind everybody that that's in this room, that our microphones are on the ceiling there, so we have to talk to the ceiling so everyone out there can hear. Although it seems like lately our hearing, people have been able to hear better, but we've been doing some tweaking with the system, but we've got 3 people online. Okay, did they put their names in?
Amy, Stacy, and then Grace Inbone.
Okay, great. All right, well, we might have some more join us. We'll wait and see. But Christina, if you want to go ahead, that'd be great.
Sure. Like I said, I'm Christina Lambert. I work with Benchmark Human Services. Currently, we have 6-day services that I oversee in the state of Ohio. Most of the folks that we serve have some sort of additional behavioral challenges or sensory processing challenges. So we do a lot of just kind of catering, I guess, to that need. So I put a few things together. I cannot stress enough, prepare. You have to be like overly prepared for when you're serving people, especially if they can be super physically aggressive, or just any of those kinds of issues. Prepare everything that you do. Prepare your day. Have it set. Have their day set. Have a visual calendar created. And even if they're not following it, you follow it so they can see it. Because our brain processes things differently. Words and how we say things and even written communication versus pictures. So a lot of times folks, especially with an autism diagnosis, are going to process a picture differently than they're going to process the words. So we want to have that visual schedule in place. And a lot of times we'll put a couple things that are like choices. Did you want to go to the park or do you want to go to the splash pad? What are things that you want to go and do? So they have that choice, because the whole thing is about creating safety and creating control for the individual so they can control their environment and control their own day. and that they feel safe. If they don't feel safe and if they don't feel like they're in control of their day, then that's when there's lots of issues. So if we just give that to them, you're in control of your day, you're in control of your environment, and you're safe wherever you go, then it typically leads to better days. Not always, but almost always you'll get some better days in there. So make sure your day is prepared. Prepare for trips. This is little things. Even like we have a sensory bag that we take on our trips, and that sensory bag can be for several different people will have their own bags. And in our sensory bag, we just kind of keep things like they always have little snacks, a drink. We always have like a change of clothes for people, but we have their sensory toys, whatever their sensory need is. So if it's a toy, if it's an iPad, if it's whatever their sensory need is, whatever's making them feel safe, then we'll take those items with us. It's not always going to be successful. I mean, there's a lot of times we'll go out to a park, we'll do things like that, and just sit there. And like, we're not going to get out of the van, but that was as far as we got for that day. So at least we got to the van, at least we went for a ride, at least we saw some things, we have the door open, some nice fresh air, and that might be it. And that's success. So we got to celebrate those little things as success, because that is. I mean, it's better than sitting in the same place all day long. But prepare for your trips. Even just preparing for your trips, making sure that there's gas in the van. Having to stop and go to the gas station is going to throw a huge wrench in somebody's day. That can't happen. Making sure the van is clean. That there's nothing, so nobody threw trash in there, because that can cause all kinds of problems. If somebody left something in there that shouldn't be in there, or that sort of thing. So you just don't, when you're going to decide that you're going to go do something, we need to be able to go and do it. And we don't have time for stopping and waiting, and nobody's gonna process that. Prepare for things just to go well. Expect that they're going to go well, but always know that they could not. I think a lot of times that we'll have like staff or employees, they'll be like, oh, we can't because of this or because of that. No, we have to expect that they're going to do well. If we're going to go, we're going to do well. We took a large amount of people to Cedar Point this year for Arc Day. Large amount of people that were like, no, you can't take them. They can't go. Yeah, they can. They can go. And we're just going to figure that out. We only had a couple issues, which isn't too bad for, I think, about 150 people went all together. So a couple issues isn't terrible, but they went, and they got to go and they could participate, where they may not have been able to.
And you would think the more that you take them out, the more practice they get, and the more familiar they get with it, and then they get better.
It's an expectation in our day services that our folks are in the community 3 hours a day, every day of the week. So a minimum of 3 hours a day. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to force anybody to go somewhere. But they have the option to go for 3 hours a day. So if they choose to be like, I'm not going today, I don't want to, we're not going to make anybody go. They can stay back with another staff. We go in small groups. We don't ever send a group of 20 people somewhere. It's very, very rare that happens, because it's not successful. It takes too long, it's slow, it's not community integration, it's just none of those pieces. So most of our groups are one staff to 2 to 3 individuals. And again, we have high needs people, so a lot of our acuities will work for us to be able to staff at a higher ratio. Sometimes with our new folks, we might even staff them at a 1-to-1 for a couple outings a few times, make sure that goes smooth before, you send them out there with 2 or 3 people.
So when you give the options, how do you give people the options for the day? Do you have like multiple options they can deal with every day, or how do they think that?
Well, we have a couple different things. First thing we have is we have a council meeting.
Okay.
So by the 15th of each month, every member that attends our day service program we go through and they plan their next month's calendar.
Okay.
So they tell us, these are the things that we want to go and do. This is, we want to go to the park, we want to go to the zoo, we want to go do this, we want to go do that. And then for the people that are nonverbal, that have things, then we'll even get, like, you kind of learn people and you know what they like and what they don't like. So you'll, kind of help be their voice to get some of those on there. And then you also check with your families, especially new people that might not be able to communicate that. What do they like? Where do they like to go? What are places that you take them all the time that we have what do you think? Do you think they would like this or do you think they would like that? So we can try it and get them out there so it'll be successful. And we certainly start with some closer things to our day service location.
Yeah.
Like, we're not taking people on 2-hour trips away until we're pretty confident. But they have choices then, because we always are going to have like an outing for them to go somewhere and do something every day. So if that means that they're going to go to the pumpkin patch, then they're going to go do that. But there's also the option for the YMCA every single day. There's always a group or two that go to that. There's always somebody that goes to a library or to a park. Because typically in our day service settings, we'll have 10 different groups or so that are set up throughout the day. And people they can interchange if they choose to do so.
So what if, has it ever happened that all 20 people pick the same activity they want to do that day?
Not really.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, sometimes you'll have some more that want to go do it. Like, you can't have the option, not everybody has the option of going, like, to the pumpkin patch that same day. We're going to strategically place those. So that will be that these 2 or 3 people go on Monday, these couple people go on Wednesday. So everybody throughout the month has the opportunity to go and do every activity. But then they have those fillers if they choose not to. So you don't want to go do that, but okay, so are you going to pick the Y, or are you going to pick the library, or are you going to pick the park? What are you going to pick? And you want to go fishing instead, or however they want to do that.
How many, I'm so sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
How many people do you have at each of your locations?
It just depends. We try not to have more than 30 at any location because it's too big. So then we'll just kind of add another one.
Okay.
So we have some that have 10, we have some that have 30.
Okay.
That's kind of how they're broke up. And we have to have lots of space, especially with people with more intense needs, because if we have too many people, then like it makes the environment bad and you can't serve them. You can't serve them well. They need quiet, they need a little more space, they don't, clutter, that kind of thing does not work.
Do you end up some days then having to quickly reassign staff because maybe it was a rainy day and so a lot of people were saying, you know what, I don't want to go to the pumpkin patch thing. So then you're like, oh.
That's part of that preparing. And so we prepare for that the day ahead. We are checking the weather and everything the day ahead of time, and then we're letting people know ahead of time. Like, we just had that happen where they were going to go out and do a hayride or something like that. It was going to be really muddy and it wasn't going to be possible. So we're like, hey, we're going to switch that. We're going to switch it with our Scene 75 day or whatever it is that they did. I think they went to the movies. So we're going to switch that.
So you try to do it the day ahead.
It has to be the day ahead of time.
Think about it, process.
So they know they can process, they can handle it, because if you tell people that the day of, and that's not usually good, they need to, we still gotta go, but this is the day, here's your calendar, you see where you're gonna go. You're not gonna go on, the 12th, but you're gonna go on the 24th, because we have to be able to show that. You're still gonna go. So they, process that. See how we're switching these two. We're just switching them.
So you're really showing them how that's,
Mhm.
that's good.
Yeah, we have to have that, just lots of that planning. And we want to be prepared for things not to go so well. So for things that might not go well, we really need to know, like, if they have a behavior success plan. Some counties are incorporating that all into, like, the ISP. And some counties are still keeping them separate and calling them different things. It just depends kind of on the county. So we know if it's all together, then we really need to know that inside and out. Know our crisis intervention training. We use like the NANT system. That's one that we're really big on. And then make sure that all of our employees know what to do. If this happens, what are you going to do? They always have phone numbers. They always have books. They're always prepared. They always have medication lists. They always have those things with them. We have them keep a binder, so they have every single thing with them if there was an emergency. There's always people that are available on call. There's always team leaders on call. There's always a program manager. There's always myself. There's somebody that they can get a hold of at any point in time when they're out if it's needed. So that's part of that preparing for outings. We talked about take snacks and drinks, take sunblock. Make sure you have orders for sunblock. Once you have sunblock that you can't put on people and they're getting burned. So make sure you have all of those things. Make sure they have a charged cell phone. Make sure they have a change of clothes. Make sure there's gas in the van, that your sensory bag is ready. We want to have all of those things put together for the people that we're serving. If you miss any of those things, then that's where your day starts to fall apart. It's like we just have to be set. And we try to really have like even just a set day. Everyone will come to our day service center in the morning. And between 9 and 9:30, we have a coffee and a snack. Because what we found is that we have a lot of people that, may live on their own or, don't always get breakfast. So we always have, like, even if it's like Crystal Light and coffee and like graham crackers or something like that. There's some kind of small snack because, well, hungry people typically aren't very happy. We always keep little packages of oatmeal. So if somebody didn't eat, then they can eat. So we have that, and then we usually will either do exercise then, or they'll have like a little group exercise, which could be like a 10-minute thing. Maybe they play Just Dance on the Wii. Maybe they exercise on a ball, or they were doing this drumming class that they went to the other day, which was kind of cool. It was like this exercise drumming class. It was really neat. So they're setting things up with that. But we always try to have something where you're getting kind of some of those physical movements for the people that we're working with. Then we have our either a sensory activity or they go on their outing, whatever it's going to be. Because sometimes our outings will be, 4 or 5 hours long, and they're out the whole day. Sometimes they're, just an hour, or two, where they have a couple different things that they're doing. They may, have a day where they're just going to Walmart and they're picking up supplies and then they're just going to go eat lunch and then go out and swim at the Y or do whatever they're going to do. So you want to be able to make sure those things are good. We want to create a visual schedule. I don't know if you guys have ever, I use SendTeacher. I don't know if you've ever used that, sendteacher.com. It's SEN Teacher. And that one's really cool because it has if you just Google it, sendteacher.com, printable, free pet cards, it all comes up. And you can make them different shapes. They're in different colors. You can put your own pictures into it, but it's all the same borders, the same size. So I'll go on that and then, kind of put in whatever I want it to be. If I want it to be a pizza, or if I want it to be a park, or they have thousands and thousands of them. And then you print 8 out on a page and you can just laminate it and, use your little Velcro, whatever it is that you need to do. And it works. So we'll have those. We always have those visual schedules. I cannot tell you how much I use Pinterest. I use Pinterest 24/7. Pinterest is my thing. If you put in sensory activities, if you put in things that are for tactile, for, any of those things, we have water tables, we have beads. But we don't try to just have things that are just specifically sensory oriented. We try to really look at each person that we're serving. What is it that they want? What is it that they're trying to get? Because when you look at any behavior, we have to be able to look behind that behavior and say, well, we know that behavior is what people use to get something, get away from something, or get to something. So What is it? What are they trying to get? What are they trying to get? So if we can figure that out, if we can figure out what their behavior is being used for, because especially if there's anger, we know anger is a secondary emotion. What is the primary emotion? What are they frustrated about? What is not working? What do they need? And if we can figure out what that is it that they're, not having, we have a gentleman that we brush. We have like sensory brushes that we brush his arms with every day because he needs that sensory input. We help people brush their hair. Some people want you to, hair is like a big one. They want you to pull and kind of braid and have things like that. So we do that. What is the need? What is the need? We, in one of our day services, actually in our Lima day service, we have a wall that's about this big that goes across here. And we have a gentleman that just loves to dump sand, and he loves to watch it, and he loves that like fluid dynamics of that. So we put a wall up where he can just pour and do all of the sand stuff. We wouldn't put that in every single day service, but we put that because that's what he needs. We have another one where we have, our St. Mary's office has tents and tunnels. We have a lady that loves that securing feeling of having tents and things around her. So we need to really identify what each person needs. Down in our Milford day service, we have somebody that is like really into music. So they have, we have different music things that are set up and like relaxing, beanbag chairs. And so get the sensory items that go towards your person that you're working with. What do they need? What do they want?
Can I bring up something, Christine? Because this is just something that really impressed me too when I walked through, is that, sensory equipment, if you buy it from catalogs and everything, it is so gosh darn expensive. But really, with how, the reason that Christina can make sure that people get what they specifically need is because she is using Pinterest and stuff. Like a lot of this stuff was.
We make it.
Yeah, they're making it, and it was so. And I was just amazed by the stuff that they had made that was fairly inexpensive. That we, most of us could make. It wasn't like stuff that you're not contracting with people to build that stuff.
Mm-mm.
You were.
No, we make it all ourselves.
Yeah, it
We
was.
make everything ourselves because if we don't, then we can't afford to buy it. If you put sensory on a rocker, then there's a couple $1,000.
Right.
Or you make one, for $50. Like,
Yeah.
even like our light tables, if you get on Pinterest and you put a light table in, I think I made our light table for $20. It's like a clear tub with little Christmas lights in it, and then we were able to put the stuff on top so they could trace or do their beads on top. All of that stuff is gonna be. We make every bit of it. Otherwise, don't buy it just because it has the therapy stuff on it. Just make it yourself.
And it allows you to totally customize it then if you're making it. So it was just, I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, everything that we put in place is very much so just for them. Like, what do they want? What do they like? We have a gentleman that just loves to smell things. So we have like a box that just has different, like we took the, like garlic salt, how it has like the little lid, but you can still kind of smell. So we took like all those little spice jars like that you could shake things out of, and then we filled those with oil-soaked like cotton balls. So then we wrapped our own little smelly things on them instead of buying those. I mean, it's virtually free then. And he's got his own little smelly boxes, which is good. So they like that.
Can I ask about the sensory, the brushing?
Mhm.
Did you work with an OT or somebody with that sensory before you actually did that with somebody?
Yes.
Okay.
Not always. Not always do I do that. But that's one of my things I was going to talk about is that in a day service setting, get an OT-PT eval. You can get that. Your counties can provide that. Not every county, like some of the larger counties will have that and some of them won't, but if you can get their primary care physician just to write the order for that, they'll come in and they'll do that in your day service. It doesn't just have to be like in a home. They'll do it in your day service and they'll come in and say, well, try this or try that. So yeah, like our one gentleman, they suggested getting a brush and brushing his hair and teaching him to brush his hair. But we do have just They're brushes for people's arms, that's what they are. And no, we try those on people even without anything, and then we communicate, well, we tried this, we tried that, this worked, that didn't work. So it helps some people, I mean, that would make me very angry. Some people are just good with it. So when you're creating your visual schedule, less is definitely more. You don't want to have, I've seen sometimes people have visual schedules that have 20 things on them. Don't do that. Like 5's probably good. Like you want to have them pretty simple. Like we're going to do this and then we're going to do this. Otherwise it's just overwhelming and it's chaotic. Nobody can do like 20 things. You're like, oh, where am I supposed to be? I don't know what I'm doing. So just think less is more with that. And even if like your members don't look like they're using it, staff should still use it. So we came in the morning, we got coffee and our juice. So we took that, like what I have is on one side is what is happening for the day, and then when it's completed is on the other side of the line. So we put everything up on the left side that's going to happen for the day. And then the right side is when it's happening or happened. So, okay, we came in and we see on our calendar that we're going to have coffee and juice. So we move that over to the right side. And even if our clients don't seem like they're engaged in it, we still do it because they're still seeing it and it's still part of their day. And then we go to the next one. Okay, now we're going to do this next. I don't know if you guys have heard of the first then model. Where first we do this, then we do that, and that's kind of what it is for like your visual calendar. First this, then that. We even communicate that way with the people that we're serving. Okay, well we did this, next we're going to do this. Next we're going to do this. So even after we move something over, next it's this, next is this. So everyone's always kind of seeing and preparing and ready for that.
At each location, who is doing this? Is there one staff that is designated for this task, or is it like an administrative staff at each center?
It is one staff
Okay.
that is designated, or two, because it's going to be depending on the size of the program. Some of our sensory rooms are 1,500 square feet just for the sensory portion of it. And so there might be a couple staff in there, and then one person will be assigned to that. If it's a smaller program, there's only a couple that are doing like a sensory area. Because we have some day services where we don't have full sensory rooms. They're just smaller programs, and they might have a sensory corner where you have those things in there. You can still do that. I mean, we have things where we have, mats laid out and chalkboards that we put up on walls and sensory things to touch, and we still have the schedules and everything there. It doesn't require a huge space for everything that we do. So yeah, no, they will do that. So our sensory activities, we want to identify what the sensory need is. Look up activities that help meet that need. So if you have somebody that is, I don't know, I mean, I have one guy that just loves water, anything water that he can have. So we have a water table, and you can make your own water tables, you guys. Those are super easy. It's PVC pipe and a storage tub. You can make those, for a few bucks, and then you take that out, and then you can make it a sand table because you just put another little tub right in there. Just look it up on Pinterest. They're easy. They got your little lids. It's great. But we have those, or we have like water beads, or we have water or sand. Sometimes we put foam in them, whatever it is it's going to be at that day. But they have that. They have those activities that they're prepared and they're ready to play with. Have multiple activities for multiple people, so don't just think that every single person is going to want to do the same exact thing, because they're not. They're going to want to do different things. Some people are just like, they really like the computer and they really need to have that, or they really like the iPad. I have other people that if I showed them an iPad, they're like, I'm not gonna touch that. So it has to be really centered towards that person and be prepared for it. Again, like sensory tables, water tables, light tables, those are the best things that we do. I mean, it really is. Like having, even like our light tables, like, cause you could take a light table and you could do, where do you put, even people without like the sensory processing stuff as much, they like to put leaves on those where they can trace over them and do other cool things. So it's kind of neat just to have, like we have in our one-day service, we have a light room that's just all about lights. And then we have another room that is just all about music, where it's just all music stuff. And then one section that's like all water table and sand, that sort of thing. And another one where it swings and smells, and all of those things are hitting different senses and different needs for people. Make sure in the environment the people you're working with have a lot of room. People don't like to be tight together. They don't want to be crammed together. They don't want to be sitting right next to you. They want to have space. And then what you're saying to that individual is, I trust you enough. I trust you enough to not be right next to me. It just kind of helps to build that trust if they have that ability. We want our environments to be somewhat quiet. You don't want to have really loud, chaotic situations. And you'll see that with staff sometimes. They'll be like, oh, can you believe they're doing this? And I'm like, well, look how chaotic you are. Look, is that calming? Is that relaxing? That doesn't do that to anybody. Let's just talk quietly. And then I'll even like tell like our employees sometimes, whisper. When you feel panicked, whisper. Because that makes them talk quieter. It makes them talk slower. It consciously has them like, okay, I'm getting myself together. And then the people that we're serving are going to feel safe and they can get their life back on track. We want to do things at a slower moving pace, even with like your hands, like it's part of that whispering, because we'll be like, oh, we got to go do this. And sometimes we're kind of running around doing things. That can be overwhelming to people with like sensory processing disorders. So we need to do things a little slower, walk, a little slower, and just, do that. Set timers if you need to. Sometimes like people will want to be, have a hard time having somebody transition from one activity to a next. So a lot of times like, okay, we'll set the timer. When this beeps, then we're going to go do this. And that seems to help. Your furniture placement in the room makes a big difference. Like if you think about your furniture placement, here this room is set up where somebody's going to go right back here. It would be difficult to get somebody over there with how these tables are kind of set up in a square. You want to have it open. You can have it open. Like if I wanted people back over here, then I would have this whole section taken out so they can get back over there. So they can get back to the other side of the room. Because you want it to flow. Where do you want people to go? Where do you not want people to go? So look at where your furniture placement is. And that's another thing. You guys can Google that real easy. They'll have all kinds of different diagrams that are set up. What's furniture placement for people with autism? It'll show you all those things. Make sure that the members and the staff person feel safe. If they don't feel safe, then you're not going to be able to take people out in the community. They got to feel safe. When you take people to environments, start specifically at taking people to things like where there's open areas, where it's a little quieter, it's a little calmer. If you know somebody really likes water, we'll do a lot of splash pads. Those are free out in the summertime. We go out to those parks. And we do that because there's not a bunch of people around. The YMCA at a pool isn't bad. Usually on a Tuesday at 10 in the morning, there's not a big crowd of people there. So you just kind of try to pick those times when things are less hectic. Same thing with restaurants. We found that if you are sitting with people and you are sitting in a booth and they're on the inside and you go there at, 1:30 when the restaurant's pretty quiet, you can usually have a successful meal with people that a lot of times aren't wanting to do that. Now we have had people that have jumped over the table and done things like that, and that's okay. But you know what? They've done a better job. They gotta go. And there's not 1,000 people watching them if something like that happens. So, that's success to me. They still gotta do it, or they maybe have never done that before. Cluttered small spaces don't work. Don't have people like in places where things aren't real organized and real neat and kind of less is more. Don't have artwork all over every single aspect of things. Give them some space. It's just too much visual stuff. Look for outings that provide open spaces when possible. That's things like parks. That's things like swimming, splash pads. Not supposed to say parks, etc. We want to have those things where they have space to move. It's a little quieter. We want to have assessments. We want to work with a team to get the needed assessments. OT-PT evaluations for day service setting, you guys can totally get those. So get them, have them come and look and do those for you. Communicate with the team. Be asking those questions. Ask those family members, what is it that your son or daughter likes? Ask the direct care staff that are working with them at home. They are like an abundance of information. They can tell you all kinds of things. This person likes this or they don't like that. Now what are we going to do? Ask for ideas from other staff. Rule out any medical concerns. If you have somebody that's showing a lot of behavioral needs, rule out something medical first. We don't know. What if something's really hurting them? What if something, isn't right? You guys, one of the things that I have found over the years is I take people's shoes and socks off and I look at their toenails. Like if I got people that are real upset, their toenails do not get cut enough. And they can be long and their feet can be hurting. So I'm always looking for things like that to see how are our toenails, because who checks that?
That's true. Even if you have nurses doing body audits, I've found that sometimes your nurses won't ask them to take off their shoes, socks and shoes.
Yep.
And then you have that's got to hurt.
It has to hurt.
Because I'm telling you, I've seen feet
that are terrible. Yeah. You'll see it all the time where people have curling toenails and all kinds of things.
Everything's feet are turning black and stuff, and nobody noticed. I mean, good point.
Yeah. Or even just washing, their feet aren't getting washed and their skin's almost like peeling off. I've seen that because they get into a shower, but nobody's really scrubbing their feet good. And then they have skin that's just like peeling off from just being kind of rinsed off for a long time. So, I mean, I don't know. I was worried about feet. I get real worried about feet.
Right there with
What is your toes?
Note to self, keep my shoes on.
Assess the person, assess yourself, and assess the environment. So we always want to assess the person. Is there a medical concern? Are they hungry? Are they tired? Are they getting a cold? Where are they at? Where are they at when you look at the crisis cycle? Are they at baseline? Are they somewhere else? Assess yourself. We've all worked with people, I think, before and realized that we're probably not in the best place ourselves. We all have those moments. Maybe it's time to tap out and have somebody that might have a little more patience for a situation. It's not a terrible thing to do. It's okay. It's okay to do that. And assess your environment. Make sure that your environment is safe. If I see somebody's pretty agitated, I'm going to be making sure things are picked up and out of the way, because you just want to do that. Make sure things are safe. There's different senses that are real important. Like if you look at the oral sense, it's anything that has to do with the mouth. We have a lot of people that will have that as different sensory processing. a lot of things they need to chew on, they need to bite on, they need to do anything that's with the mouth. The olfactory is your sense of smell. I have one gentleman that just is so gross to me. He loves coffee breath. He thinks that's the best thing in the whole world. I'm like, ugh. But that's what he likes. He needs that. He likes that real like organic-y kind of smell. Like, I don't know.
So does he just go around asking people that he can?
Yeah, putting his nose in people's mouth. Like wanting you to go
Does
with
he,
your coffee breath in the morning.
does he drink coffee?
No.
Fascinating.
You gotta wait, put that in a jar, have someone swab their mouth, put it in a jar.
Tactical, are we touching, feeling things? That's like the guy who likes all of, the brushing in his arms. That's when you have sometimes weighted blankets or, things that are kind of heavy like that. That perceptionist, I always say it wrong. Where are you in your space? Where are you in this room? Where are you in, where are you in your environment? So you kind of know where that is. Vestibular, people that like vestibular things typically like a lot of rocking, a lot of spinning, a lot of swinging. All of those kinds of things, that movement, they need to do that. Think about us, you guys sitting here. Nobody can sit perfectly still. Can you sit perfectly still for 10 seconds? Everybody's kind of moving, you're kind of doing something. A lot of times the people that we're serving don't. Look at them. They're not always moving, so then their muscle groups aren't feeling right. So sometimes we gotta help with stretching and pulling and pushing. Kind of help do some of that to kind of relieve some of that. Because it's painful. If you sat without moving, that hurts. It hurts if you do that even for a minute or two. So we want to do things that are going to help promote that. So small trampolines, walking. If you see somebody upset, maybe we just do some stretching. Sometimes that's helpful. Visual. That's the people that really like lights. They like glow-in-the-dark things. They want to watch things that move. They want to watch bubbles that are floating through the air, fish in aquariums, things like that. And then auditory, likes or doesn't like sounds or music. Some people, like, it can be super overwhelming to have a lot of it, and some people, they just can't have enough. Same thing even with like your sense of smell. We have some people that you want to be completely scent-free as much as you possibly can because that could be overwhelming. And we have some people that, are on the complete opposite end of that spectrum where they want as much smell as they can get, like they have like a deficit almost in it, and they need like really strong smells. So, it's so different. People are so different. You just don't know. You have to look at each one of them so uniquely to kind of figure that out. And that's what I have. Any questions?
Yeah, for the sensory, because I heard a lot of sensory stuff you're doing in your facility.
Mm-hmm.
As far as out in the community at all, how do you stay aware of sensory needs for individuals? How do you support that?
Well, we take their sensory bag. We always take their sensory bag, and then we're going to take them to places that we know that they like.
Okay.
So if somebody really likes water, then we're going to take them to a splash pad. We're going to take them to, like Boonshaw Museum in Dayton. We go there a lot where you can touch things, you can feel things. It's those real interactive kinds of museums. We're going to go and provide those kinds of activities. I'm not going to ask somebody, with a significant sensory disorder to go, sit in a movie if they can't sit still. So I just really got to know what their outings are and what they can do and what they like. And it might be a lot of the same things because, well, they like routine. And you try and get some of those other activities put in place. The best you can.
I think it was a good point of what you said too then. So, well, to tie this into what you were asking, Justin, so because maybe not everyone, when you first get them, you might not know for sure what they like and don't like. And to be okay with you take them somewhere, and you never even get out of the vehicle. Because how would you know till you get them there? Or maybe they get off the vehicle, they're like, nope, not for me, and they get right back on.
Yep.
But that's okay, because that's a success, because now you know what they don't like. So
Yep.
to look at even that as a victory, to say, yeah, we at least got them there, we opened the door, we let the fresh air in, then they were done. But that's still a step in the right direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's success to me.
Yeah.
You didn't,
that's
nobody
great.
was hurt, nobody was mad,
You
nobody.
did something different
Yeah.
that maybe you've never done before, there you go.
Absolutely, it's a new experience.
Yeah.
It's a new experience. I think we had talked about, Lisa, about how we have iPads. So each one of our locations, they will like FaceTime back and forth on the iPads and do some of those kinds of things together. We're doing a book club, so they're kind of picking books out. Looked at doing like a cooking show maybe.
That's right, I was gonna try to hook you up with Dream Shine. And we-
Yeah.
Only because we thought maybe some of your people would wanna link with their people.
Well,
that
I'm
are-
balanced, but I'm not at Dream Shine.
Oh, I thought you said you were.
No, I'm balanced. We're just starting day services.
Oh,
Yeah, Dream
okay.
Shine's phenomenal, so
Okay,
yeah.
okay, I still got to get you hooked up with them.
Yeah.
Just to see if we could maybe across the state start to.
Start to kind of pull some of that together. And then we do a lot of, like we have pen pals, we do a lot of letters. So even people that don't necessarily want to write or do those things, but maybe they do a picture. Maybe we take a picture of them and they send it to their pen pal. Because it's still cool to go out to the mail and get your letter, you know, everyone likes those kinds of things. So we're trying to do some of those things, just to incorporate those kinds of things.
Contact information, I saw it. Good.
Yeah. Yeah, I put it through. Perfect.
Thank you.
I don't know why I have an exclamation point on there. I obviously didn't pay attention enough. It's just Kay Lambert at benchmark.com.
Okay.
I'm excited about myself.
How do you, kind of do them, you do things with age appropriateness?
We do with age appropriateness. Now you're gonna have, part of that is gonna be, I'm not gonna ask some of our folks that don't have some of those sensory needs to do some of the same things that some of our other people need. And just because somebody likes dolls and they're 50 doesn't mean they can't have that. We offer things as much as you can, but that's specific to that individual. I'm not gonna tell them they can't have it because it's not age appropriate. You know? So yeah, we're gonna offer things and we're gonna do things as much as we can to have it adult, you know, that way. But the reality is I'm not telling anybody they can't have something that they like or that they want or that they're asking for because it's not age appropriate. And I'm not gonna ask any of our people I'm not gonna ask somebody who does do more age appropriate things to go play with dolls with somebody who likes it. You know what I mean?
I think you want to get that, if you can, to have that written right in your ISP saying, you know, dolls are very important for this person. And, you know, there's adults that collect dolls, right? So, but if you have it in the ISP, then I think that puts you in a safer zone as a provider.
And you try to have that in there, you know, and you would work with them on that. You would try to maybe get more collectible ones or things like that. But if somebody wants a Cabbage Patch Kid, they want a
Then
Cabbage
that's what-
Patch
right.
Kid, you know?
Yeah, because I just wonder, you know, when they're doing the outings and everything, just to educate them, hey, people might be looking at you because you have these inappropriate age things too. So just the education piece, I think, even just looking at.
You do the best you can, and when we go to the majority of our outings, we're trying to do them a lot of times when they're not the super busy times.
Okay.
Because you don't want a bunch of people. They're not, most of the time people we're serving aren't gonna want a bunch of people there, you know?
So at that Cedar Point that you talked about, was that like a sensory day?
That was our day, yeah.
Okay,
That was our day.
yeah. 'Cause I know we've talked about partnering with agencies or to create like a sensory friendly day. I know they do some movie theaters, I've seen a lot of things, so that's.
Yeah, if we see those are really nice. Like in our southern counties, we just got season passes for most of our folks to do Kings Island. because we have a grant through our agency, so that was really nice. And with like Kings Island, they let staff in for free. Newport Aquarium let staff in for free. So you're able to do that pretty
Cedar
economically.
Point will too.
Students,
Cedar Point will as well.
they will.
That's great.
So
It takes a little bit.
yeah, you have to get the little pass, you have to get the list of everybody that goes on it, but it's nice when they are willing to do that, especially when they have water parks and they have rides, and that's all those needs that a lot of our people need.
Do you guys transport to and from your facilities? I'm just thinking like time-wise, buses pick up at a certain time, so therefore if they go to the zoo, I'm the Columbus based, but so if they go to the zoo, that's like all the way across town, and then by the time they get there, they spend an hour, and then they have to come back because buses. So
We do provide NMT, and then we offer at our agency typically once a month as an extended day, where we might not bring people home till 4 or 6 o'clock at night, just because like we want to be able to go do some of those farther away outings.
Yeah.
We would typically, be able to do. Not everybody wants to stay within an hour of another day program, so we have some of those other cool experiences.
Your OTPT evals,
Mhm.
do you ever get them done in community settings too, or is it always been at your facility?
Yeah, I do this. When I served people residentially, I had them always done residentially.
Okay.
Always, always, always. And I just, like in the smaller communities where there isn't somebody in that role at the county board, then I would ask for that. Like I would just ask the primary care physician, can you give me an order for an OTPT eval and an in-home one? It takes 2 or 3 hours.
Mhm.
They come through the home, and then they kind of tell you, here's your list of recommendations of things that would be very beneficial for that person to have
Do
in
you
their
have a
home
certain
setting.
OT or something that specializes in sensory integration or?
Well, typically, like in the county boards, like if you are in a larger county, then yes, they're gonna have somebody that has a lot more of that.
Kind of rural.
If you're kind of rural, they still do though. They'll have, like their occupational therapists that you'll get typically through your hospital then will come out to your house and try to help.
They have a lot of sensory. They're almost
Research.
clueless, like I could give them more information.
Just keep researching and researching and researching. Get on Pinterest. It's my favorite. I get so much cheap stuff off of there. And Google.
Any other questions? I want to encourage if any of the others of you have some cool things going on in your programs that you want to present, like Christina just did, please let me know. And when I'm out and about, I haven't been able to get out and about as much as I was before, but when I am out and about, I try to look for things and be like, hey, can you present, but I don't know all the cool stuff you're doing, so please feel free to let me know. And
Yeah, and we'd love to get with like other groups. If you guys have anybody that wants to do stuff together, I think that's always fun to meet new people too. I think I read somewhere that like 3% of the population with developmental disabilities have like true meaningful friendships and relationships. So that's sad, so I'd love for some of our people to, make some real good quality friends that aren't paid.
And especially with iPads and everything and FaceTime and all that, like, maybe some of your organizations could link up and they could start having friends that are across the state that they talk to every day or every week or whenever using FaceTime or
Yeah.
right? Because FaceTime, you don't even need to have a phone plan, right? You just need to have some kind of
Internet.
you just need to have internet, and then they could be meeting people they would have never met before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool time right now that we can really,
Get that technology put in
Yeah.
place.
yeah.
where are your locations again?
We have one in Milford, Sharonville, like kind of north side of Cincinnati, Middletown, Columbus, St. Mary's, and Lima.
Okay.
That's the west side of the state.
Well, and just to let everyone know, also the next meeting, next month, we're gonna combine this group with the Employment First group, and we're actually gonna look at the OPRA strategic plan. So you guys can take a look at it, make sure that the OPRA team is doing what you need us to do. Well, and let us know if you have suggestions for other things we need to work on. So that's a real important time for you guys to put in input with us. It's at 10:30 on, look, I'm not gonna know. It's in October. Let me open up my calendar real quick. It'll be from 10:30 till 12 on October. It should be the 4th. Okay, so 23rd. Yeah. So on 10:30 on October 23rd. And then actually the next 2 months after that fall really close to the holidays. So, I don't know, do we put the meetings on hold then for 2 months and wait till January to meet? Or do you want to still meet? We can still meet, I mean, I'm still gonna be here. It just depends on how many of you would be in town. I don't know how many of you travel around Thanksgiving or Christmas. Things kind of slow down, and so it's totally up to this group.
And when's the opera conference?
Oh, yeah, that's in November. Yeah.
The first, second, and third.
Yeah, I forgot about that too. So we will, hopefully you're all coming to that. I hope you do. There's certainly a lot of good information there. So, and speaking of sensory stuff, this might tie in. Well, kind of does. Why don't you tell about the technology house?
Yeah.
The IT house.
Oh, the gadget house.
The gadget house.
Yeah. So at the fall conference, we've had it, well, we just had a gadget room last fall, and then I think 2 times before that, one of our members out in Dayton, they built this house structure that they bring in furniture, and they make it kind of a smart house. They're going to be featuring the Google House kind of platform this year. They'll have lots of, Bluetooth lights and power strips and, stuff that you can monitor on your iPad. And I think we're doing, I don't know if I already said this, a kitchen. They're going to be bringing some stuff that can be in the kitchen and then just like a general living space. So it should be a good time. Usually have some good turnout. Last year, I think the most exciting thing that was there that we got the most interest in was a light bulb that holds a charge. So while it's on, plugged in, it's collecting a charge, and then if the electricity were to ever go out, it would have a battery backup, which probably underscores the excitement of the gadget house.
Right.
Wasn't meant to say thing, but.
Well, you weren't able to set up the whole house last
Right,
time,
we
so
weren't.
this will be the whole house. And I think this really ties in with day support, because if we're supposed to help people to live more independently, then some of this stuff you could maybe get some ideas from, stuff that then you could be teaching them how to use during your day programming, and then they would maybe be able to have that at home eventually and be able to use it, live more independently, if that makes sense. Especially when you talk about the kitchen and stuff, like how many of the individuals we support struggle at cooking for themselves, And so there's, options and stuff that they can maybe use, so just kind of a cool thing. But I hope you all come to our conference, so it'll have some neat stuff. So what do we want to do for November and December, though? Do we meet? Do we skip? What do you think? No comment. Does anybody have any topics they want us to cover during the next meeting? Everything's going perfectly. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, if, unless someone emails me or calls me or something and tells me otherwise at a later date, we'll go ahead and just plan on meeting in January. And if you think of any ideas by then of things you want to have presented on, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just try to find, I'm sure I'll visit some, one of y'all, be like, you need to present that, please. Just like I do to Christina and to Justin all the time. So, and we'll get something planned for us in January. But I hope to see you in October too, to put some input on our strategic plan, so we make sure we're doing what you need us to do. All right, thank you very much. One more thing before everybody leaves, I just thought of this, because we're doing something similar for our employment first group. Would it be beneficial for you at all, for you or your staff, to start, and maybe I'm thinking this is simpler, this is probably more complex than what I'm saying, but to actually have DOD CEUs for these meetings that you would get, for training CEUs? Because really these probably fall under DOD topics, what we, like the presentation that Christina just did. We could probably do that. Christine's gonna look at me and be like, no, because you gotta get them pre-approved. What are you thinking? Do any of you, now, because I can tell you what we're doing for Employment First is we're actually going to, we recorded it so that some organizations are gonna then let their direct support staff see it and get the CEUs that way. We can start to look at that, so think about that if that's something that would be helpful, because I know I've certainly gotten a few requests from providers just recently saying that DOD is saying they are not meeting the training standards in one way or another when it comes to that whole self-determination, like within that first year, they have to have training on self-determination and advocacy and some other different items that DOD seems to have this on their radar this year, I'm thinking. So think about that if there's a way we can coordinate that in with this meeting too. So, all right, thank you. I'm done now. I think. Yeah, there you go. I learned something else. That's how my brain works.
Thank you, Lisa.